Okay, so as far as technical difficulties go, sorry about that. Our white students had 203 events that made up nearly 45% of behavior events. This school year, we have a very alarming number. As you can see here, 326 events by our African American students, which has over that's 150 event increase, and the percentage has went up to nearly 47%. Our white student events has increased just a little bit from repeat offenders, but the percentage of it has gone down nearly 12%. Our Hispanic population event has went up also, and our mixed race event has went up also. So as the comparison, the total number of events has went up like 65% over last school year. So numbers have been shifted around, but this is an alarming number for our African American students. As you can see, we have behavior events, number of students having behavior events. Last year, zero behavior events was made up 408 students. One behavior event had 48 students, 55 students had 2 to 4. 16 students had 5 to 10, 7 students had 11 to 20, and 2 had 21 or more. Now, we never want to have this many referrals by this many students, but the fact that that's only 2 that had that is a good number. Over here on this side for this year, we have 381 students have 0 behavior referrals. Again, we have more referrals, but less students having them. Our population is down this school year. So as you see, the number of students having 1 event was down to 40. 2 to 4 events is down over 20 students. The number of 5 to 10 referral events is the same. Now, what is alarming is the significant increase, a double up in 11 to 20 behavior events from 7 to 14, and a 4 times increase in the number of students who have 21 or more referrals. Some strategies that we are going to talk about. The administration and the PBS committee have analyzed behavior for the top 3 referral events, which vary from year to year. In this case, they're the same here at Smyrna. There's a 200% increase in throwing object-related referrals from last year to this year. The number 1 overall offense is failure to respond or follow questions or requests. It's a broad category that, under the Code of Conduct, is a level 1, 2, and 3 event, depending on the severity of the case. It could be as simple as a phone call, a parent meeting, or going as far as a suspension. In most cases, students who are disrupting get phone calls and notes home from the teacher. In more severe cases, SRT is called, or the student response team, which I'm a part of, to remove the student from the setting. They usually would typically go with us. We'll talk about behavior, what happened, what caused it, and what can we do to prevent it. And if they're responsive, we'll bring them back to the classroom a little bit later. If they're not, then we'll escalate and go to the assistant principal so that they can have a parent contacted. Fighting and striking is automatic suspension by Code of Conduct. At the elementary level, typically lasts just 1 day. At the high school level, it's 3 days. So depending on what happens or the severity of it, most students only get 1 day. What we'll do, though, is collect data on these students and try to determine a behavior pattern and analyze that and see what kind of more extensive measures that we'll need. The third incident of increase is the intentionally throwing objects that could potentially cause injury or disturbance. This, again, like I said, is up 200% over last year, which means that we have some very temperamental people in our classrooms who, for whatever reason, think it's okay to throw a fit, throw objects, kick objects when things don't go their way or when they have some strong emotions. And again, this one also can be a level 1, 2, or 3 offense, and can result in a conference phone call or suspension if need be, depending on the severity of the event. As part of the PBI's committee, we get together to talk about behaviors and how they should be handled. We want to talk about how can we positively interact with students who are disruptive instead of just you can't just get in somebody's face and tell them what they need to do and things like that. If they're causing a problem, clearly something's not going on mentally that they are fully understanding. We talk about possible classroom management PDs if we feel like that may be a big issue. We'll discuss that with our teachers, and see who needs a refresher course or who would like to have some additional classroom management also. We do have some mental health professionals in the building who come and see certain students a couple times a week, but we do not have a permanent person, so I think that would be a good thing to look into going forward. Can we possibly hire a mental health person to be here every day? And I know that's something that has been discussed in the budget talks for next school year. We do have a school behavior plan that has been developed through the PBIS committee, and the expectations have been set, and then each grade level team also has their own team plan. I think what we need to do and to continue to improve things is to reevaluate team plans throughout the school year, talk about what's working, what can be changed, and that way those teachers can take it back to PLC and they can discuss making additional adjustments to their own team plan. We utilize team timeouts where a child can go to another classroom for a few minutes to decompress or get themselves calmed down, as long as they're not causing additional disruption. They can take some work with them, and then when they have reached a level that they are able to return, then they're allowed back into the regular classroom. We also are coming up with ways to create behavior contracts, and my suggestion is to, again, continue to reward and recognize students who meet expectations on a regular basis. Meet those expectations on a regular basis right here, but also to develop rewards for those students who do struggle, who in order to get them recognition that they deserve. So we'll possibly look into hiring a behavior coach also, someone who specializes in reaching those hard to reach students. We need to increase the communication between parents, including those meetings. If it starts from the beginning of the school year, it can be stopped. We can put a damper on certain things. You have to stop the behaviors before they start. And through PBIS and laying out clear expectations, we can start from day one of showing students who want to test the boundaries that this won't be tolerated, and to get those people involved in that child's well-being here in the building right away can help de-escalate some of those situations right off the bat, because you're going to have students who try. We all know we have those students who try their best to push the boundaries and test the limits, and we have to do a better job of stopping that before it starts, and that has to start from the very beginning. One more strategy that I think would be helpful would be developing a teacher mentor program where each teacher takes at least one at-risk student and develops, a kind of a mentorship like Big Brothers Big Sisters, where they mentor that child and are available to them throughout the school day to help them, feel safe, feel comfortable if they need somebody to talk to, things like that. And I think that's a very strong way to develop relationships with students who need the most help. In conclusion, this presentation and this program has taught me a lot, and going forward, as I strike out to hopefully become a principal myself, is that, the thing that I gained from this research was that, the data tells a story, but it doesn't tell the whole story. I think just from looking through the numbers and talking to certain people and things about, just my 1 year here at Smyrna, I've learned that we've had an influx of students who weren't here last year who have come in and caused a lot of disruptions. So they've created significant repeat offenders who have multiple referrals, high numbers of referrals, and it doesn't account for all of the issues. We have plenty of students who were here last year that have also had plenty of referrals as well, but it stems to what is the mental health of some of these students, because if they've moved around schools, which you can see in Infinite Campus where a student has been, If they've moved around schools, to me there's a constant issue in that they're not able to get the help that they need because of a unwillingness from a parent, or just a school does not have the resources to give that child what they need. So there are some mental health issues that could be at play here. When I really looked closely into the numbers, there were a very high number of referrals at fourth grade, 229 of them, and first grade, 117. Of which those first graders, 40 of them come from one student. So to me, it shows that we are not meeting the needs of this one student. And this student needs other supports that we do not have the personnel to give. And we've been tracking data on the student all year, but the district has not seen fit to recommend anything stronger than what we have. And so the student continues to be an issue. I myself have tried to foster a relationship with this student to try to get this person to understand of certain expectations, but at times, it's hard to reach a 6-year-old who may be, having some developmental issues mentally. So it can be challenging, but we have to figure out a way to make it work. We have to figure out a way to help everyone. As I've stated before, PBIS works in an elementary setting if the administration provides a clear direction and leadership along with quick interventions. I feel like we didn't do a very good job of that this year. That was not part of what happened from the beginning of the year, and so students realized quickly that they could do certain things and not really have much consequence for them. So we have to make sure that we have to start from day one next year, no matter who the new principal is. We have to start from day one showing students that there are expectations and they are expected to meet them no matter what, and that there will be a response if they do not. The PBIS team must continue to develop and facilitate implementation of these action plans and continue to monitor the data and adjust things accordingly. It's hard to implement things mid-year when students are in their routine. We all know that elementary students don't do well when their routine is disrupted. So we must make sure that we are starting from the very beginning to develop it into the routine of the students. We can't just create something brand new right in the middle of the year or 3/4 through the year and expect them to just respond to it swimmingly. PBIS is a flexible system. The research that I've read says that it's flexible, and it can be used to change certain aspects of school culture and climate. But the complete staff has to buy in, and if not everybody's not on the same page, then it's not going to be as successful as you want it to be. It's not a pick and choose. It's not a pick and choose when you want kind of system. Everybody has to be on the same page, and we have to start that again from day one. It has to be something that comes together at the very beginning, or over the summer for that matter. The system of goals and incentives should be implemented to encourage the correct behavior outcomes, and there must be recognition to those who continuously follow the expectations that are met for the school. That is the key. That is a huge component of this. If you do not recognize the students who do well all the time, they will begin to feel left out, and then they will think that it's okay. Well, all the other people are getting the attention from, for being bad, so why should I be good when nobody recognizes me? So it has to be constant, it has to be continuous. We have to make sure that we hold the students accountable for their actions in relation to the tiered system that PBIS presents, and we have to make sure that they understand. It has to be posted. It's got to be all over the walls, in the classroom. It has to be repeated on a regular basis. So that in order for PBIS to be successful at Smyrna Elementary, we have to make sure that it is constantly reminded, no matter where they are, no matter where they go, they have to understand that they have to always work and try their best to meet the expectations for the school and for themselves to be successful going forward into middle school and high school and adult life. And those are the things that I think are the strong components of PBIS, is that it's a development of student behavior over the course of time that shows that if I do the right thing, I'm going to get recognized for doing the right thing instead of getting the attention for being disruptive or not meeting expectations. So I appreciate everybody's input on this research project. I have learned so much over the course of this year just from switching levels. It's been an adventure. It's been a journey for me, and I appreciate all of your input. I appreciate everyone's support. I appreciate all of your feedback that you've given me throughout this time, and I really look forward to seeing where I can take this going forward as I hopefully reach out to begin a new adventure. So thank you very much.